here is the roll call of members, so if you would, Ms. Thompson.
Mr. Jeter, District 1.
Here.
Mr. Tipton, District 2.
Here.
Mr. Herron, District 3.
Here.
Mr. Bricky, District 4.
Here.
Mr. Mann, District 5.
Here.
Ms. Hood, District 6.
Here.
Ms. Kruby, at large.
Here.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, we will look at the agenda. Is there any amendments to it before we approve?
I don't have any.
Okay. With that, we need a motion to approve the agenda as presented to you. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Tipton made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Harrington, second. All in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Next item is item number 5, approval of the minutes, and we've got 3 to approve: the regular meeting on May 6th, the budget workshop, and then a special call meeting on May 21st. And so we can do them all as one approval. Do we have a motion to approve that, to approve these minutes?
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
Then Ms. Hood makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Kruby, second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The next item is the citizen expression period. I'll read a short statement and we can get right into that. Citizen expression period is one of the meetings when anyone who wishes to address the board or staff may do so. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium and state your name, where you're from in the county, and what organization you represent. The board may or may not respond to anything that you say, but we will take everything that you say into account when making future decisions. Please keep your comments concise and business-like. If no one has signed up to speak, and happy Ms. Thomas.
They have not.
Okay. We have no particular order. We just ask that you take turns and speak your business. Any action will be considered after we close citizen expression. So with that, we are a citizen expression. Anyone?
Morning.
Good morning.
Kind of brought me a little notepad here.
For the record, they state your name.
David Carter, Fort Blackmore. 1 year ago, this month, was the first time I ever attended a board supervisor meeting. I've not missed one since then, except for the one in April this year. Learned a lot about how the county affairs are handled, the responsibilities of the BOS and the other elected county offices, along with the county administration members. I have utmost respect for the BOS and the county administrator, because last year I saw what you all deal with. Being a taxpayer, living here in the county for 67 years, paying taxes for approximately the last 45 years, the county's budget depending largely on timely collection of taxes has been a focal point for me. Last year, the county citizens had to bear the blunt of tax increase. And in my opinion, that was largely, not all, but largely due to the amount of uncollected taxes in this county. I know as last month, y'all were discussing budget. I guess that's on the agenda again for this month to approve the budget for the coming year. And from everything I heard, shortfall once again is a contributing factor to the budget. Budget cuts, reductions. And this is not a personal attack or vendetta against the treasurer, either personal or political. I did a FOIA request that I received on the 6th of May from the treasurer's office. And all the numbers that I'm going to put in front of you all came directly from over 1,200 pages from that FOIA request that I asked for. According to those numbers, and I'm sure that most of you know this already, but bear with me. Real estate taxes, $1,227,623.29. Personal property taxes, $609,449.58. Merchant capital, machinery and tools, $605,434.65. That is a total of $2,442,507.52 of delinquent taxes. Now, from what I understand, we're currently at around 91 to 92% of collections. After a little research from some of the surrounding counties, I found that Wise County is at 98%, Lee County is at 95% collections. What do these counties do different than Scott County does? Why does our county administrator, our board of supervisors, why do they have to do a budget based on 91 or 92% collections? And I think, if I'm correct, that your budget for the year is based on 94% collections. I could be wrong, but I think it's correct. You know, the 91 or 92% of taxes that are collected where we stand today, those were taxes that taxpayers like myself and all of you paid on November the 20th. Those are all, that's basically automatic money. To me, the elephant in the room is the almost $2.5 million that's not collected. I know 100% tax collection is not, I don't think it's probably not even possible. I did some little other figuring and a little bit of research on some of the papers, some of the paper that was supplied, the reports that was supplied. We have $96,467.11 in real estate taxes in a group of LLCs, INCs, and trust hanging out in this county. Now, if you Google these, a lot of them don't even show up. You can't find them on Google, okay? I only found one of the LLCs that we even had a local in-county address, and that was in industrial. The rest of them, they show up. Some of them don't that have amounts of real estate taxes applied to them. How are they collectible? I don't know. I'm going to draw a copy of these, totally good. Some of them date back, all the way back to 2010. And I see yourself, I see around. And you know, a chance, just look at those, Google some of them. There is one on there that I asked you to take a look at. It is a SB Towers 11 LLC for $10,334. And if you Google that one, it comes up as a cell tower company. Now, my first reaction to that is that the company that built the new cell tower over here was the property taxes, was that waived for building a new cell tower? I don't know. But I just thought some of those were interesting. If you look at the list, there is some pretty substantial amounts there. The Briar Patch Ventures LLC, the third one down at the top, it has a Duffield address. And you know, and I know that the Board of Supervisors, the county administrator, I know y'all can't force the treasurer to collect the taxes. The treasurer was elected by the people of the county, and I think the citizens of the county are the people that need to put pressure on the treasurer to collect the taxes. You know, I see the comments made from the treasurer that she has an open door policy. But what better way to do expression to the citizens of the county than to make an appearance here, because the citizens have the option of seeing on recording on TV, on Scott County television. We've got Lisa right here that I think does a great job. I've followed the past year from the meetings I came to, and Lisa, I've always found that Lisa, she reports the facts in the paper. She don't just put in a little snippet of this and a little snippet of that. I've found that she puts in the true information. So what better way for the treasurer to come and stand and tell the citizens why all these uncollected taxes are hanging out there, and what can be done to collect some of those taxes. You know, in the last year, I saw elected officials from the Sheriff's Department, from the Commonwealth Attorney. I saw county officials, department heads, here updates. But two of the offices in the county, elected officials, that are probably most important to the revenue for this county, were noticeably absent. Thank you all. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Anyone else wishing to speak? Kenny, you'll need to get on this for the record, correct? You gave us. Okay. We'll get you on. All right. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, I'm Sheriff Tim Pease. We're here today, Major Jenkins and myself. We're in need of vehicles. Right now, we got two that's down, transmission, and another one's got a electric steering problem. We don't have any spare vehicles now. We're patching them up, but we don't want to spend the money it takes to fix these vehicles due to the mileage, condition of the vehicles. Right now, you may have heard, we worked on it and got approved 5 school resource officers, and we're going to need 5 vehicles for those guys, gals. We don't know how we're going to manage that at this point, but we'll get to that when we get everything finalized and they're all approved to do what we need to do with them. What we really need is to have a financing program that will hit us on a path where we can replace the oldest vehicles, the high mileage vehicles, and keep the better ones. And that's what we plan to do. Major Jenkins is going to present that to you, the financing part of it. But we need the vehicles to swap out at a more time when the vehicle is nearing its lifespan for a police vehicle. But I guess the point is we're in need of vehicles, and right now the problem we've had is we've got 2 vehicles set, but we can't get the tags for them. So right now, and the equipment for them is, we've been waiting now since we got these vehicles May 1st or right there close. We haven't got the equipment to take the vehicles, put them in. They order it, but they won't start until they get all the equipment for them for us to take them to them. So we're still sitting on them. And that would help. But looking down the road, we've had a lot of vehicle expenses. I'm sure you all know. But we would appreciate any help you can give. But I'll let Major Jenkins present what they've worked on, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Good morning. Morning. It's good to see you guys again. It's been a little while. Like the sheriff said, we have tried to work out something on these vehicles that would help us with our vehicle situation where we're down. We are in the position right now where we're having to borrow vehicles. Deputies are borrowing vehicles from each other just to work their shifts. And it puts us in a bad situation doing that. But we've tried to come up with a plan here that would stay within our allocated budget each year. We get $125,000 each year that we are able to use for the purchase of new vehicles. So I got together with Ms. Starnes and we tried to come up with something as a financing option that would keep us within our $125,000 a year. A lot of the big cost on the major costs that we see in these vehicles is the upfitting. So we wanted to include that, and if this is an option, if you guys approve it, it would work fantastically, I guess, for us. What the sheriff told you earlier, we put in for a grant for school resource officers. We ended up getting approved for 5 new school resource officers to put throughout this county in our schools, which is a very good thing for us. We've asked that the school board, there is a cash match on that a little bit as far as small amount per school resource officer. We've met with the school system, and we've asked that maybe they try to match that, use their stuff to match that. However, that puts us still in the vehicle situation. what we would like to do is finance vehicles, use our older vehicles that are currently in use by our patrol deputies and give to the school resource officers, so they're not getting brand new vehicles. Those really need to go on the road where they're more needed. But if you did get this document sent out to you, we're looking at trying to finance 11 Dodge Durangos and 2 Dodge pickup trucks. Dodge Durangos would be used for patrol deputies and a couple of administration officers. And then the Dodge Ram pickup trucks would be investigator vehicles, because we got some of those that have high mileage on them as well. And looking at this, that comes to $361,970. And then you'll add in some upfitting costs, which is a major expense. But long story short, we want to put in the total that you see here, $472,000, $472,470 into a financing option. You know, if we can send this out to bid for these banks, and then purchase 13 vehicles up front by financing them, and it would. The way that we estimate this, assuming an interest rate of 2.0 to 2.5%, which the interest rate is low now, our yearly payment would be $123,662 to about $124,910, which would be under our $125,000 a year that we're allocated budget for our new vehicle purchases. So that would give us the 13 vehicles up front. A lot of these vehicles are high mileage, like the Sheriff said. We're sinking money into vehicles that new transmission will cost about what the vehicle is worth. When you have 163,000, 170,000 miles on a police vehicle, they don't get very much anyway, the way they're driven. But that's what we would like to do. We're asking you today to give us the option to try to finance these, for approval to finance these vehicles.
The Durangos are pursuit rated.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The amounts that you see right here, the $28,728, that's the lowest. That's through the Virginia Sheriff's Association. And the Durangos, yes, sir, are pursuit rated. The Dodge Rams are not, because they would be investigator vehicles. Yes, sir.
On the upfit part, is that radios and lights?
Yes, sir, it is. It's currently the last upfit cost that we got was $6,671, and that is without a prisoner transport system. That's the divider that you put the prisoner in the back. Some of our vehicles, we do want to have that, and that would be somewhere in the vicinity of $7,800 to $8,000 per vehicle when you include that in there. We don't want every one of them to have it, but we do want some of them to have it. And the Dodge Rams, of course, would be cheaper. We won't put as many lights in, no bar lights, and those would probably be around $3,500 to $3,800 per vehicle to upfit.
I may have missed this, and you may have said it, but over what time frame is this $123,000? How many years?
4 years.
Just 4 years.
Yes, sir. And then if we would give us the possibility of renewing this and doing it again the next 4 years, it's just a repeating cycle where we get new vehicles. And that fixes our problem right now. We're in bad shape as far as vehicles. We really are. A lot of them have high mileage, a lot of breakdowns. It's getting pretty bad on us.
You talk about not being able to get the tags for the ones you've already got. Is there anything we could do?
I don't think that's a county issue. That's a DMV issue. It's where everything's shut down right now. Ms. Starnes has done all she could to do that, to get those tags. It's nothing anybody in this room could do. I think it's a DMV problem.
Okay. I like the idea. When do we discuss this during the budget? When we do the budget?
After the budget hearing.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? If not, we will close this expiration period, and I do want to commend Harp for coming and providing a lot of information we've heard, we knew, and since 2012, I've been on this and trying to do what we can to collect as many taxes as we can. I had an email somewhere about the taxes the previous treasurer, and it was, anywhere from 95, and I asked him how one was 101%. He said, you know, that's what it was, for one that he was in office, so. I don't think 91% is acceptable, I never have, I don't think it's, when I talk to the treasurer in Wise County, the tools they're using to collect taxes is, they're using every available option to collect taxes. It's been a thorn in the side for a while, has it not, Darryl? Trying to get this done, so we've hit a wall every way that we can. We have no authority over the treasurer's office, zero. We have options that can be used to collect taxes, and so it's a hard job. I mean, anybody who want that job, it's a hard job to do, to sit in the city treasurer.
We had the delinquent taxes collected, we'd be in good shape.
Yes.
Wouldn't have to be worrying about the budget and stuff. The county would be in real good shape if we had our taxes collected like they should be.
And also, the former treasurer was very offended. It was said here that DMV stops were not being collected while he was there. And he told me he was doing it personally. He wanted to come here and address that. He said, if I did, I'm afraid I'll say something I shouldn't say, but he said, I was doing it myself. I didn't hire somebody to do it. He said, I was doing the DMV stops myself. And he was very offended because it was said here by someone that it wasn't being done, and it was. All righty, we'll deal with the sheriff vehicles here when we get them after the budget part. We're going to do that here in a few minutes. So anything else here on what Mr. Carter said, and we'll deal with the sheriff thing here in a few minutes. All right. Next item is the public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2020-21 budget. To start with, I want to thank the folks on the budget committee, Mr. Harrington and Mr. Jeter and Frida, all of you that's worked so hard on this, the staff. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. It's pretty tough. But when you look at all the line items, and on the budget committee, I've been on it a couple times, not as many as Darryl has, but they go through line by line. It's not like we'll look at this page, that page, with the bottom line. They go through it line by line, very time consuming, is it not? And so, anyway, I thank you all for doing that. I think we have a budget that's workable, and so with that, we'll go into the public hearing. If I ain't done so now, anyone here wants to speak on the proposed fiscal year 2021 budget? Anyone wants to speak? All right, we'll come out of the public hearing and open for discussion. And Ms. Starr, if you want to leave this, anything you need to say tonight.
We have a couple of items, machinery and tools. The current rate's 90 cents. When that was increased last year, it was the intent of the majority of the board to increase that over the next 4 years, and total 4 years. So it was the consensus of the board at the budget hearing to do no increase on machinery and tools for fiscal year 21 because of the struggles the businesses are having with the COVID-19 issues. So that would make the increase for fiscal year 22 and fiscal year 23, 25 cents for each year to bring that up to the $1.40 that was our target last year. So just want to make note of that. And one of the other items that we needed to take action on was the postage for the school board and for the Department of Social Services that the county office is currently paying. It would be my suggestion that we send letters to Mr. Ferguson and Ms. Mullins stating that we would be billing them for postage that is for their vouchers, accounts payable bills that come from our office.
Anything else on the budget from any of the members? Anyone? Like I said, I believe it's a good budget. Y'all worked hard on it, and I commend you for it, what you've done. And we looked at it We had the workshop last month, top to bottom, and I think everything was said that needed to be said. And so, if there's no discussion, I'll ask for a motion to approve the budget for the next fiscal year.
Danny, we won't do that until June 22nd.
We don't do anything else today. But on Eddie, you're right, sorry. I'm back.
We just need to do our, like, if we're gonna do the postage, we need to make that official and the sheriff's cars. Those are the two issues that we have.
All right, y'all heard and so we do vote on the sheriff's cars and what you, okay. Thank you for bringing me that. All right, we'll need a motion on that then. That's right, we have the budget. What's the date, like June 1?
June 22nd.
June 22nd. I won't get through this, I'll take time, I think I'd love to know. I need a motion to, and I do like the idea, if you got we've looked at the numbers and how it was, you know, the sheriff here explaining, Major Jenkins explaining, we've seen what it takes to do what they're gonna do with the vehicles. And we've been 6 months trying to get this where we want it, but we didn't, and I'm glad we took our time. I'm glad we took our time with this, not jump in, because we changed it a few times from leasing them to this. I think it's been a lot of time put into it. Thank you, Ms. Starnes, for doing all that deal. If you had a hand in this, we do thank you for doing it, and the sheriff take left, and we do appreciate them too. So we need a motion to amend the budget and then approve the vehicle purchase for the sheriff's office as presented to you. Do we have a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion, we accept Sheriff Eads and Major Jenkins' proposal.
All right, Ms. Bricky made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Ms. Hood, second. Is there any discussion?
Kruby.
Huh?
Ms. Kruby.
You all sound alike. I mean, how you do?
We're from the same area.
Well, you do. Sound, I got to look at you. If you had the mask on, I wouldn't have a clue.
Oh.
Sorry.
That was me, Ms.
All right,
Kruby.
Ms. Bricky. Thank you. Any discussion? All fair vote, say aye. Aye. Opposed? So those changes can be made. And when can they do the vehicles? Right away, go ahead and get that going.
July 1st.
July 1st, okay.
And we will work with Davenport and Sands Anderson to get that,
Okay.
the RFP out for those vehicles.
Well, they haven't spent the money this year, have they? This fiscal year?
Yes, they have.
It has been spent?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, I know they had a couple new vehicles, and that's where they got it from that money, so, all right, good deal.
And then if you want to do action for the postage, to send a letter to Mr. Ferguson and Ms. Mullins.
We'll do that separately then?
Yeah, that needs to be a separate line.
Okay, all right. We have a motion to do that.
I'll make that motion.
All right, Ms. Cribbs made the motion. Gotcha. Do we have a second?
I'll say it.
Mr. Aaron, second. Any discussion? All fair vote, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, the enterprise zone incentive, you've seen the email from Mr. Kilgore that that's part of this hiring thing they do, the way that they employ people, the amount they pay. There's a reason for that. I don't have the exact dollar amounts. You have it in front of you.
I do.
It's going to,
Is he not here? Tamper has paid their 100% of the real estate taxes, and they do an average of 2.5 times the minimum wage rate. They have paid the machine and tool tax on the expansion items totaling $31,758.69, and real estate taxes of $4,622.77. So the tax grant for Temper Sealy will be $36,381.46. And then also as a result of the 2013 expansion, VFP has qualified for a machine and tool tax grant and a real estate tax grant of 80% because they pay the 2 times the minimum wage rate. So they get 80% of their taxes paid on the grant, which totals $14,692.34 on machinery and tools, and real estate, $19,012.30 for a total for VFP, $33,704.64.
when we look at this, that's why that enterprise zone incentive is so important. There is tax relief because they've done that, but you know, that they're great employers in the county. And when that enterprise zone guidelines put in place back a long time ago, it was very important. That's the reason for the tax incentive for them to do well. They pay more than the prevailing wage, and so all that is really good for the county and the people living here.
And we do have these amounts budgeted under the EDA budget for the current fiscal year.
Do we do those separately? Can we do them together?
But you can do them together.
All right, the amount to Tampa is $36,381.46, and the amount to VFP is $33,704.64. With that, we'll entertain a motion to pay these. It's already budgeted, to pay these incentives to those two companies.
So moved.
Mr. Jeter made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, this is a second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So the motion carried. This enterprise zone encourages people to know that it's there, it's the biggest thing, and we've included, adding a lot of the areas of the county to that. They can follow those guidelines, and it's a huge incentive for them to be a part of that and take advantage of it. So we do encourage the existing companies and the new company might come, that they know that that is available to them. Very important. All right. Item 9 is to authorize to advertise the amended fiscal year 2020 budget. The reason being is for that CARES, is it CARES Act money that we got?
That's correct.
Go and get $1,008,000 something.
$1,881,550.
Okay. So we have to amend the budget to include that, and it may be a little hard to spend it, but that money will be there to be used, and Ms. Lawrence has some good ideas on where to use it. There are stipulations on where you can use it. I know a lot of places are getting money like that. It's, I'm saying there's strings attached, but they are, but that's understandable, it should be. You can't use it in your general fund or whatever, it has to be put in certain areas that's required by that line. All right, we need a motion to authorize to advertise that.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Tiffany made a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Harrington, second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So you're authorized to do that. Item 10 is the personal property tax relief. If you've seen that, hope you got a chance to read it, how it works, up to 0 to 20,000 worth. They get a, what percent discount is it? I don't remember.
I believe it's 38%.
38%, yeah. And then above that is the full amount. But anyway, if they're less than $1,000, zero in it.
I'm trying to pull up
That's
you
all
have
right.
it on your tablet.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it's
Oh, I see it. Okay. I think about this thing, it's just a resolution implementing the changes to this tax relief thing that we do in Scott County. And I'm gonna read the whole thing. I've looked at it at home, and I'm gonna read the whole thing again, but anyway. I'll just quickly say this for the record. Personal use vehicle valued $1,000 or less would be at 100% tax relief. Personal use vehicle valued at $1,001 to $20,000 with 38% tax relief, and the personal use vehicle valued $20,001 or more will only receive 38% on the first $20,000 value. All right. So we have a motion to do this. We do it every year. Do we have a motion to do this on this tax relief act?
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Tiffany made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Ricky, second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next item is, Amy is not here, you do, Amy's bookkeeping.
We have one appropriate $1,862.70 to Circuit Court Clerks Technology Trust Fund, Capital Outlay Office Equipment 29-21655-8102 for monies received and deposited at the Treasurer's Office. That's all the appropriations.
We have a motion to make the appropriation as described by Ms. Harms.
So moved.
I don't know why you all sound, I gotta look at the city's talking. Sorry about that. All right, Ms. Stewart made a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Give a second, any discussion? All fair vote, say aye. Aye, opposed, motion carried.
And we have one transfer $1,000 from Commonwealth Attorney dues and subscriptions 22100-5810, and transfer $1,000 from conference travel 22100-5510 to office supplies 22100-6001, and that's the only transfer.
Okay. Do we have a motion to make the transfers as described here?
I'll make a motion.
All right. Mr. Harrington made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Ruby, second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Mr. Kilgore is here. We've done the enterprise zone awards. Did you need to speak on that before we? We've already done it. If you need to speak, you can.
No, you're good. Thanks.
The one thing I did say, John, tell them is how important it is that this is done and helps the business in the county. So, but if you want to speak on it, we'll give you time to do that if you want to. It'd be good if you hear from you, I think.
Thank you, sorry, I'm running late there.
Okay.
The enterprise zone is very important, and it's based on what the industry invests and what they create jobs. So back in '96, the county was one of the first enterprise zones that was designated in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that was re-upped a couple years ago. We included Nicholasville, included Dungannon, and also all the way to the state line here. And of course, Duffield's included. Strong industry in Duffield, and based on their expansion, as you read in the note that I'd sent to Kathy, is that they had a significant investment, and y'all have approved they have to pay their taxes. We check that first, and then once they pay the taxes, then they get some refund on that taxes that they have paid. That's only based on the expansion. That's not based on their initial investment. As you may or may not know, Timber's already invested $60 million there in Duffield, and you have BFP that's actually expanded. That's the third time that they've expanded. So it's good to work with the industry that we have already here, and that help them create additional jobs if we can. So thank you.
One quick question, I should know this, but I don't. When we get that relief, do we get any reimbursement from the state or district from Scott County? We get that?
That's from Scott County. They'll get, they apply to the state as well. They will get state tax rebate back as well, but it's based on how much they, throughout the state, how much that they have to give. So it could be reduced percentage-wise, but the state determines that.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Kilgore?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next item is, Ms. Tina Say, she is here on the appointment, so if you would stand.
You have a packet of applications, if you want to get those out. The first one is for the Southwest Regional Recreation Authority Board. Eugene McClellan has applied. He's been serving for several years on this board.
All right, do we have any nominations for the Southwest Regional Recreation Authority Board?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Eugene Bell.
Is any other nomination? If not, entertain a motion, nomination cease, and vote back for motion.
So moved.
Mr. Jeter made a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Tiffany, second. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So, Mr. McClellan will serve again.
The next one is for the Lonesome Pine Regional Library Board. Jennifer Mead has been serving, and she did reapply.
Okay. Any nomination for the Lonesome Pine Regional Library Board?
I'll make a motion to nominate Ms. Jennifer Mead.
Okay. Any other nominations? If not, entertain a motion, nominations cease, and vote back for motion.
So moved. Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Harris, second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Robert Sally's been serving on the Building Code Appeals Board. He did not apply, but he is interested in serving on that.
Okay. His name again, say.
Robert Sally.
Okay, do we have any nomination for the Building Code Appeals Board?
I'll nominate Robert second.
All right, Mr. Jeter made a nomination. Do we have any other nominations?
Motion nomination cease for information.
Tiffany made a motion, nomination ceased. Do we have a second?
I second.
Ms. Hood, second. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Mavis Spivey has applied for the Planning District One Behavioral Health Services Board, and she is your only applicant.
Do we have any nomination for the Planning District One Health Service Board?
I nominate Ms. Hood. Second.
This one is for the one that, Ms. Spivey.
I meant Spivey.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. So, any other nominations? If not, need a motion, nomination cease and vote by acclamation.
So moved.
Drew made a motion, do we have a second?
Second. Second.
Drew, second. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Opposed, motion carried. I think that's all right, listen, I missed you all the time, so. All right, and then the, Planning Commission,
You have two openings for the Planning Commission. One is a 4-year term and one is an unexpired term. And you don't have any applications for this one.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I've mentioned it to a couple of people, but I don't really know what, what it entails.
Can you tell me what that?
The planning commission is your first look at special use permits, any zoning issues, those type of things that come before the board of supervisors. The planning commission will look at those first, and then they'll hear all both sides of the issue or the permit, and then they'll make a recommendation to the board of supervisors. Then you all will hear the same public hearing and make your decision on a special use permit or a zoning. And they also update the county's comprehensive plan.
Are there like qualifications you think for a person? Like I've mentioned it to a person who's actually in management at Canfor. And then a woman who, well, she did work at Eastland Credit Union, but would, just a professional, business person.
Yeah, or somebody that has a building background or, those type of things that would be familiar with land use issues or, building code, any of those type of issues would be beneficial.
Okay, yeah, that's just what I
And we
needed to
usually
know.
meet the second Monday at 6 o'clock. And if we don't have business that month, then we don't have a meeting, but it's always the second Monday.
Okay.
That's when the meetings are.
so there's 2 positions open, I'll go ahead. Does anybody have any nominations for either one of them? This is really important, go ahead, this is really important, we get, like Ms. Starnes said, people that have some knowledge, and so I did have a couple of people interested too, then they didn't, and I told them about what Ms. Starnes said, but it's not that time consuming, the meetings don't last that long, but still people are pretty busy, and especially people who work there, they're busy.
And it can be controversy.
Can.
I mean, we've had that, in the last little bit, it could, the citizens may be against the special use permit and they'll come and speak out at the public hearing and then the same, as they come to the board of supervisors meeting. So it is a very important board.
Yeah, it is. And Mr. Gilmore always comes and presents to us, once he gets to the planning commission, from them, either recommend or not, then he comes and does a PowerPoint and show us where in the county it is. They'll do Google Earth pictures and all that stuff and show us where it's at. And so it's a very important job.
Well, I thought it sounded like.
It is.
Who come off of it?
We had a death and
Okay.
then we had one not reapply.
Okay.
Mr. Collins decided not to reapply.
All right, do we have any nominations for the planning commission? If not, we will do it in July and re-advertise that. And again, I mean, that's good. That's a good question too. You're new on the board. It's very important you know that. Any of us know it's important you know that. That's a
And
very,
at
very
your-
important position.
I'm sorry, at your January meeting, you actually heard from Ms. Harless, and that had been through the planning commission. So that's an example of one that the planning commission had heard prior to it coming to the full board. So that was your first meeting, and that was one of the issues from the planning commission that had.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're gonna re-advertise and, hopefully get a couple of people interested. We can, a lot of trust into it this time. July. Mountain Empire Community College Board.
Adrian Hood has applied for this position. She's your only applicant.
I'm going to nominate Adrian Hood.
Is there any other nominations? Not entertain a motion, nominations cease, and vote by acclamation. So moved. Tiffany made a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Reed, second. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Rodney Baker still serves on it too, doesn't he?
He does.
His term will be probably next year maybe.
I'm not sure when his is up.
But he was actually the chairman of that board for a while.
He still is.
Still is.
Mr. McClelland, he was just, he didn't reapply either, and he had been on the board for many years. But he was replaced earlier this year. And then, Mr. Collins has been a very active member for many years, and also was the planning commission's, member on the capital improvement program committee for a couple of years too. So he decided he wasn't going to reapply again.
Rex was on it for a while too, wasn't he? Mountain Empire Community College Board.
I thought you were.
I thought you had, but he's not on it now, correct?
Technically, you're only supposed to serve 8 terms, or 8 years, so.
Okay. Oh, he done well, he served it well, and, I was there for the graduation, he did the diplomas and everything, he did a really good job, so I'm sure Rodney does too.
I thought you were talking about the planning commission.
I thought about both, I'm sorry.
Rodney's chairman of both, so that's why I
Oh, he
was
is?
confused, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Rex was on it too for a while, on the community college board. All right,
That's all I have.
thank you, ma'am. The next item is county attorney items, okay.
I don't have anything today. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for attorney?
One thing you said that at the last meeting, and it was in the minutes, and I can't remember how you worded it, but there's been some question about the Senate Bill 35, 34, the one about the streets, parks, that Mr. Harrington was going to address this last time.
The firearms or?
Yeah, and you made a one-sentence statement that made a lot of sense to me as to why we shouldn't address it at this time. Do you remember that? It was in the minutes, and I read the minutes, but I couldn't quote it right now. Do you remember that?
Even though everything is in place for this legislative session, everything's been approved and the governor's done with his vetoes, I just don't believe in doing something before July 1st when things are officially on the
Okay,
books.
that was. Yeah.
We know it's gonna be in the
That
law,
was-
but
yes.
it's not yet.
So you'd still advise us to wait until everything's in place?
Yes.
After July.
Yes. And at that time, you can do a resolution if you want to. That's about all you can do then, unless you're gonna do the ordinance, which I know
Okay.
you all don't wanna do. But that's the only thing that code section authorizes you to do is enact the ordinance. And if you don't do it, then you don't have that
Okay.
as an ordinance or.
Mr. Harrington had emailed me, he wanted to be here and speak, this is a good time, I guess, to talk about it, but he was wanting us to put something in place that, would restrict future boards from implementing where you could not carry concealed or, open carry, whatever, but, and like, I agree with our Kegley that we don't need to do that right now, the law is in place. And so, I don't know, which is going to affect July 1st, and there's nothing we can do to future boards, what they may or may not do, where the restrictions on counties may put in place. I don't like that, SB 35 either. Anyway, when we have a change at the legislature and the governor's office, so that the voters decide one day if they want to change, but the people, each one there to make the change. And I sort of said that in elections have consequences, and so that's one of them. And we cannot, I don't think we can do anything to supersede what the governor and the legislature put in place. We can make recommendations, as far as something that supersede that we can't. But I do think we should wait till July 1st to do a resolution or an ordinance, I doubt, but anyway.
Their biggest concern, I think, is, what might happen in 4 years. If, let's say, and I've been trying to picture it, let's say a bunch of gun grabbing socialists took this board, took us, and they wanted to take our guns. According to law, they would still have to have a public hearing and, as long as our government hadn't failed,
Yes.
under law, they would still have to have that public hearing. So they would still be a notice
Right.
before they would be able to do that. And, that's one of the questions that they've had. I think we all got an email. I didn't see it till this morning, but, that's basically one of their biggest concerns. And I can see that, I understand that. But if we did pass that, we're going to have a public hearing, before we're even able to do anything. So,
If you pass that ordinance, which you all don't want to do,
a resolution or ordinance.
well, a resolution, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't have to have.
No, you would just, like any other thing you all vote on, wouldn't require
Okay,
a public.
but ordinance you do.
Yes.
Yeah.
But a resolution we've already done, before all this was enacted, put in place.
Right.
It, maybe carries weight, maybe it didn't, I don't know.
But what I
stand on it.
was trying to say is that we need more, they're worried about the time period, that they wouldn't have time to, but they would.
Yeah.
That's, and,
At least a month.
yeah, so, that's one of their concerns. But like I said, I was gonna read the email, but I can read it, I guess. All of y'all probably read it. But, we're calling on our board of supervisors to review, discuss, and pass the ordinance pertaining to SB 35, previously sent to you by Jeff Harrington. This is for the future of Scott County. We understand that if the future boards wish to change this back, that they can do so, which is true. But it would take that, they would still have to announce that. They wouldn't be able just to sneak in here and change things. But we also realize that it would have to be brought before the public and would not be an easy process. So, as far as I know, none of the other counties have passed anything. Have you heard of any other counties doing anything yet?
No. And just to be clear, to pass something under this code section is to say you want to regulate the firearms under that code section.
Okay.
Otherwise, you all can't have an ordinance
Okay.
addressing it. The most you can do is have a resolution saying that you
Wouldn't enforce that.
won't have an ordinance,
Okay.
which any other board later can come along and say, yes, we're gonna do that.
Okay.
I mean, you can't, like you said, tie the hands of the future board
Right.
on anything.
Right.
But this, the most you can do is a resolution making a statement.
If I understand correctly, the only thing we can do is make it more restrictive. We can't loosen the restrictions.
Right.
The only thing we can do is make it more restrictions on, we have the authority to do that. So as far as making it less restrictive, we can't do that. So,
The other question that I have is, and I'm gonna call it the Buchanan County Resolution Amendment, whatever it was.
Yes.
There's been a lot of talk of that recently, and I wondered if you had done any study on that. And I wouldn't mind at all if somebody recommended that we do that. What Buchanan County, and that's reopening some of Scott County and Southwest Virginia.
Which again, I guess is a resolution as a statement to the governor and your elected officials saying you'd like to see that happen. you'd like to see them allow us to do that, but you all wouldn't have any authority
Right.
to do it. But I think that's what the county, I don't know if Rita was gonna.
That's what I see too.
I emailed it to them, they all have it.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Well, what the governor said yesterday, it's gonna become less restrictive and effective Friday.
Right.
Yeah, phase two
Restaurants
on
up back
Friday.
to 50%, that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's less restrictive.
So that's up to you all, whether you want to pass a similar resolution.
What do you want
Be
to do?
appropriate this time.
Well, we gotta see the resolution, see what it would be. We know what the Buchanan County one said, but we need to get it formulated so we know what we're approving. If we do that in our final budget, make it part of the agenda, we do the June 22nd budget approval.
Okay.
If you want to formulate something similar to that, then we can, look at it then. Usually all we do on that final budget today is just the budget only, but we can add something to it if we declare it now. If you do that, then we'll look at it in
Okay.
June 22nd. Any other questions for Ms. Becker? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next item is item 14, the claims, County Administrator, sorry.
You have these in your packets. The general fund balance without including the claims that are being approved today is $4,323,705.42. Total early claims for the month was $76,265.18. Total claims, with early claims included, $335,925.95. Some of the larger claims, advanced disposal, $42,910.68. Appalachian Juvenile Commission, $16,885. Powell Valley National Bank, $54,650.36. That was for voting machine payment. Scott County Economic Development Authority, $44,120. And Southwest Virginia Criminal Justice Training, $11,900. So total claims to approve today, $335,925.95.
You know how many more payments we have on the voting machine?
One.
One more.
When is it due?
Next year. We do one a year.
Was it 5 years we financed that whole thing was?
Yeah.
I know one thing, whenever those things were bought, we were ahead of the game on that. And, when they mandated that we have those things, and nobody did have it, we did. So it worked out pretty good. At the time, it was pretty hard expense to swallow, but we did, and was able to make it happen. So I'm glad that the oversight.
How often do we have to do that? Just as they recommend, or they think
Anywhere
us
else
to
to
do?
get outdated.
Yeah.
So probably 2 years, next year. I don't know, you never know about these things, so. Anyway. Still a lot of price coming in deal to everybody staying home and eating a lot of stuff.
Absolutely. We are busy, busy, busy.
Increase. All right. Any other questions on the claims?
How much is that amount, advanced disposal, up by? Do you have an idea?
Usually it's around 37,000.
Okay, so it's up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a CIP increase that happens every year, but that's up on the amount as well, the volume of trash is coming in.
Any other discussion? Not entertain motion to pay the bill.
I'll make a motion to pay the bill.
Mr. Herron made a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Ruby second. Any discussion? All fair vote saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. One thing, you look on that bar graph there that she provides, you can see where we were compared to the last, through fiscal year 2017. So we're down from last year, we were up a little bit from those 2 years, so I guess we're are okay as far as general fund balance. And we assume that to be the end of the year, with some end of the year stuff comes in.
No, we'll have another set of claims
Okay.
at the June 22nd meeting.
That's right. Okay. All right, thank you, Ms. Owens.
I do have a couple of items under miscellaneous. The first one is just a heads up. During the legislative session, it was passed to allow localities at their discretion to increase courthouse security fees. That's currently $10, I believe, and with the new legislation, it can be increased to $20. And that is something that the sheriff is interested in the board approving, and we'll have more on that in July once it's officially a law.
So we'll vote on it in July, correct?
But I just wanted to give you a heads up that that was something that will be coming. And then Mr. Kilgore is going to speak about some funds available that we can apply for through DHCD to help businesses with the COVID response.
Thank you, Frida. I know that some of y'all reached out and asked, how you can help businesses, and this is a way to do it. DHCD has reached out, and they will have some funds available and to help small business, and that can again flow through the county CDBG funds, and we have experience in the past in administering those funds. One Riverside, we also had Duckville as well. But it'd be a good opportunity to apply for the amount of $500,000 that we can in turn grant to business for COVID-related expenses. So we can work with the staff and then get that money out as soon as it's available from DHCD to help. Now, there's no time limit on that. In other words, we don't have to have those expended by December 31st, but it will be available. And I think it'd be a good opportunity for us as county to help those small businesses, and that would include all our respective towns and county business as well. So in other words, we could work with those towns as well and get these funds out for those. So they have some kind of expense related to that. They have to we would come up with an application that the business would have to apply, and we'd have to consider that and then go through that process. Same way that we do with the small loan now that we went through. We've already done about 11 loans out to small businesses, but this is another way that we can help to keep them operating in the county.
Do we have a way to communicate that to these people so they'll know?
Yeah, we actually, Fred and I have been working, since we have no business license, it's hard to track that, so we went through the 911 system, we got all the business addresses. And Penny and Frida and I have been looking at that list, and, there's some corrections has to be made, because some of those are not in business anymore, so that's the list we're going with, and then we can get that information out and just do a mailer once we get that information about it. But we'll get it out to the mayors and everything like we did on the loans as well. We did that. We did a Zoom meeting. We can do that and get information out. There's a lot of ways we can do this.
$500,000, John, will it be
It's a grant to us.
grant, so they don't have to pay it back?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah. And then it'd be a grant to the small business, right? It's required for us to grant it out, but grant is granted to the business.
It's not a loan at all.
No.
Right. I didn't know about this. Maybe help somebody, especially with the minimum wage requirements kicking in and businesses are down, so.
And with those CDBG regulations and our experience working with Monte Wisco, we can get them to help us administer that, since they have the experience with it as well. And we would utilize them as a resource as well. So if you could authorize the county administrator to send that letter to DHCD requesting those funds, the letter is required first. Then we may have an application we have to go through later.
So we need to approve that for you to do that.
If that's the board's desire to try to get those funds.
I think it would be your job.
I agree. I'll make that motion.
All right. Mr. Kirby made a motion to do this, and I think it's a good idea too. So do we have a second? I'll second. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Tippett, second, any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, so motion carried.
Thank you.
A lot of people know this, and through the press, or through the, watch this on TV and stuff, they don't know it's available. A lot of people don't know. They're so busy with their business, they don't realize what's going on, so.
And if you see business, there's a lot of resources on our website. And directly through the website that they could go, there's loan programs and, we have information on all that. So if they want to apply for something else, it's all on that website. We keep adding to that.
All right. Thanks, sir.
That's all I have under my section.
Okay. All right, we're down to item 15, comments, requests, recommendations from board supervisors. So I'll start with you, Mr. Beer, anything that you have in the world you want to discuss?
On the reappraisal, I know we put money in that for it. Are we still thinking about hiring an appraiser or just like we usually do?
I sent the information out by email that I had got from talking to Russell County and Wise County Commissioner of Revenues about their departments. And the Wise County Commissioner was very helpful. They have a pretty good size assessment department. And he thought we were on too short of a timeline to hire someone as far as staff to get that process started, because there's quite a bit of training that they need before they're ready. And we should be sending RFPs out probably in August for our reassessment. So he just felt like, that was too short a timeline.
So we need to do it like we've been doing.
And we need to get a good baseline anyway of what we have to go forward if we decide in the future to hire the person. He suggested 18 months to 2 years out if we were gonna hire someone in-house to get that process started before the reassessment.
One more thing on these school resource officers. They're being hard by grant.
They are, and I spoke to Major Jenkins about that. The grants are 3 years, and then you're eligible to reapply for the grant again. And Wise County just went through that cycle, and theirs were reapproved for another grant cycle. And the people that are hired, he is going to explain to them that it is a grant position and may not be permanent after the grant ends.
Okay, thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you. Chief Richard Tippett.
I've got 3 or 4 things. Number one is up Highway 58, there's a lot of the orange bags. I know this has been mentioned before. And those bags sit there much longer. They're not going to be, they're going to deteriorate. All the trash that's collected in them is going to be along back out into the wind and on the highways again. So who normally picks that up?
VDOT.
VDOT. And how often do they do that? Can someone, if you can make a note of that?
To contact them?
Yeah, right. It's on Highway 58, all the way from there to Rally Mart, probably on up even above there.
Okay.
On Highway 58. Secondly is, I'm sure everybody's faced with this. It's mowing season again, and our weeds are very high, higher than the mailboxes in a lot of places. And, has mowing started? Does anybody know?
Yeah, they've done mowing down human now.
About 72.
So they have started, okay.
The mowing will be a contributing factor of the orange bags not getting picked up. That's what they'll say, that they're spending time mowing and don't have time to pick the bags up. That's been the answer before.
Yeah, well, you get the bags picked up. That's important. VDOT knows that.
They're usually contacted by the person that picks up the orange bags. Like if it's litter control, they contact VDOT, or if it's the sheriff's office with a work crew, then a lot of times they'll even pull a trailer and take them themselves.
Sure. They've been out there for a couple, 3 weeks. I mean, the orange bags have already started turning color, so gives you, the sun and the rain and the weather have been hitting those. I know we had a lot of rains, flash floods, and a lot of our ditches are still need to be cleaned out in our district, and I'm sure throughout the county. I know VDOT has a full plate, but we just need to pay attention to that. And I mentioned to Bill yesterday about the Memorial Park. out there, the Veterans Memorial Park, the tank, needs to be mowed around it. That's all I have.
I got an email about our roads, about the 6-year plan, whatever, a 10-year plan, whatever else you want it to be. I think Frida may have talked with the same gentleman, but their concern is about how often that they reassess this plan. You know, when do we know when the last time they did look at the plan?
The 6-year plan, we
Yeah.
look at that yearly and adopt it. VDOT has suspended their personnel from coming to public hearings. That's normally a process that takes place in May or June each year. I have next year's plan. All of the roads that were on the old plan are now accounted for on the new plan. But as soon as restrictions are lifted and VDOT's able to come to a meeting, we'll have that public hearing.
His concern is that, you know, some of the stuff has changed. You know, like people's left. I don't know what they base the plan on. You know, whether it's number of people that lives on the road or is it just a.
No, at one point that road was on a county plan. And if it's on the 6-year plan, it'll get done.
Okay.
It may take 6 years, but if it's on the plan, as funding allows from VDOT, those roads are completed.
Okay.
And they've been moving at a pretty good clip the last couple of years.
Yeah, okay.
Do you have, the list of the plan? I mean,
I do.
well, I have a copy too. I don't know if the other board members do or not, but Mr. Christian gave me a copy actually before I was elected at one of the meetings that he attended. And that's really, good information because it has on there the year they plan to do it.
Yeah, I'd like to have that.
I'll email it to everybody.
They've been prepping, Harrington Frame Road in your district,
Yeah.
right now. It looks like it's about ready to put the tar and gravel on. I saw it this weekend.
If I remember right, when VDOT was here the last time, they talked about it. And I thought maybe sometime this year, they would start with the really close on the old list. It was a total of like 34 projects that were on there before. And they have did that down to, I don't know, 6 or 8.
They're all on the new plan.
They're all on the new plan now. Okay, so there's no more old plan.
No.
Okay.
So
And
once you adopt this new plan, they're all on there.
Okay, so they can start accepting projects and have already been accepting projects, I guess is what you're saying?
That'll come from the Board of Supervisors. Once this plan is approved, then, you know, we can set that as an agenda item and just be thinking about roads that you may want added.
Right.
And then we'll be able to move forward with that. But it'll be this coming fiscal year, we'll probably be able to get a list of what'll go on next year.
Okay, all right, very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
I know Hunter's Valley East, they're getting ready to pave 1.3 miles, I think, of that from Stony Creek to Buffalo Church, so that's happening too. So they're getting some, there for a while, they're remembering, you mentioned too, that all the funding was taken away, so we took everything, over 34 projects that all came off, and so we put them back on the 6-year plan as they came off. So those 34 projects were added back. All right, Mr. Brick.
I want to say to David Carter, first of all, thank you for being here and giving us the information. That's very informative, I know, to me and everybody else. Appreciate your time for me. On that note, I'll talk to David and want to encourage anybody that might be interested in serving on some of these boards to do so. I appreciate everybody. I think it went well today. On a lighter note, I have felt kind of lightheaded and giddy today because I got a haircut for the first time in 3 months yesterday. So I'm a little lightheaded, and yesterday afternoon I was at Lowe's, and as we went out of the parking lot, Debbie said, let's try Giuseppe's. We went over and I walked in and said, can we get served? And Debbie and I and another couple were in
Giuseppe said it was delicious.
So I don't want to, I know from David, that's all I have. Thank you all.
Thanks, sir. That's it.
Well, I've gotten, messages through my political page, people who have, symptoms of COVID-19 and telling me about it, asking me to pray for them if they've been tested, and they don't follow up with me, but I assume since we don't have other cases that, you know, it was not COVID-19. And other concerns from people have been, their inability to work from home because of lack of cell phone service and high-speed internet. One gentleman said he had to move to Tennessee to live with family in order to do his job. Another lady said she and her daughter both had Zoom meetings and she had to bow out because they didn't have the ability for both of them to use the computer at the same time. So those are concerns, and yeah, I'd like to see Scott County be a trailblazer. I realize that rural areas all over the country do not have high-speed internet and cell phone service everywhere, but as President Trump said in his address to the nation, he would like to see it everywhere, and I agree with him. I'd like to see us have that. I'd like to see Scott County be a trailblazer, and just shoot for that. However we would do it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Hood. Ms. Griffin.
I just want to say it's good to see everybody again. And I concur with Mr. Bricky on Mr. Carter being here and really appreciate his participation in all these meetings and appreciate the information that he's given us. And I too concur with that. There's a bigger issue there. And I am concerned with that 91% as well. That does concern me as a citizen, as a Board of Supervisors member, and as a taxpayer. Like you, I am part of that 91%. I'll pay mine on November the 20th every year. So I too believe there's a bigger issue there. But with that said, I know that that must be a very hard job, and I appreciate the fact that she does that. And that's all I really have to say about that. But I will, I'll end on saying it's just good to see everybody. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate all the staff, Frida, Sally, Miss Tina. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. A couple of things I wanted to mention. Bill, do we know status the cell tower, Johnny B. Hill? I mean, it's up. I don't know if it's operational.
I think the one in Johnny B. Hill may be operational. The one in Midway is up, and but they don't have the antennas on it yet.
That one I think is Johnny B. Well, it was T-Mobile, wasn't it?
Right, it was T-Mobile. There's a Verizon tower that went up in the Midway area.
I don't think it's operational.
It's not operational yet, but it's up.
It looks like so. You can see it from Fort Reed.
Yeah,
That's the first one in our district.
yeah, you can see it from Corn Ridge.
I had to run out of the road when I first seen it.
And as a crow flies, it's about 5 miles from the one in Fort Blackmore. If you shoot straight across.
I said the bill out in Fort Blackmore that Verizon would kind of, once they got it up and going, that Verizon would look onto it. And one more thing, with all the issues that dealt with bathtub, and I thought about talking to the phone company. If there's something they could do there, a temporary something for cell service for the people, I mean, that's such an issue there. They had a week or so ago, it made national news, which is probably not a good thing because people don't know more about the Delta bathtub they want to come and see.
We're actually going to add Wi-Fi, which will give a cell signal at the parking area.
Okay.
We're in the process of installing security cameras and a Wi-Fi hotspot there. So that's not exactly in the woods, but I mean, it's closer than what we've got now.
Right.
So that'll help some.
But then people have their vehicles towed away from the park illegally, and then they have no way of finding where their vehicle was. One lady from Kentucky, a couple of kids, and was you know, what do you do? And, so anyway, if we could do something, that would be great, and I'm glad that'd be good. They can get into that and do that. Saturday, I need a volunteer to go with me.
I'll be available to go.
To the High Knob. The reason being, Spirit Trails, they're, want to meet up there at 11 o'clock, and, so I'm gonna go. It's, if you go with me, it'll be fine. If somebody go with me, there's two of us can go. And, the reason being, I went through that property up there back last fall with the guy that owns all of that and stuff he wants to do, and eventually I want him to come and probably go into closed session to do it, and explain his business plan, what he wants to do. And, so anyway, it's, some stuff that's going on there, and if you've been up there in a while, they've done a lot of clear cutting, and he showed me some of the stuff he wants to do, and it's pretty amazing, what he wants. There'll be some people opposed to it, I'm sure. It's development, it's stuff he wants to do, but anyway, something in the future we'll do that, but we'll do that Saturday. It should be maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most. It'll be 11 o'clock, we'll be up there. And the staff, thank you all. Rita, thank you all for this budget stuff you've done. I appreciate you doing what you've done. All of you worked hard on this, and David, I also appreciate you coming, and a lot of stuff some of us older veteran people knows, but maybe something new is you can enlighten them on it, and I think you were dead on it accurate. I really did.
And I have one other thing. After the comments, we need to decide on the treasurer's position, whether that's going to be part-time, full-time, no time.
We need to decide that today.
It would be best, yes.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do that. That's all I have on my comments. I do thank you all for this. So go ahead, if you've seen the emails, the back and forth on it, you know, we offered a person 24 hours, a part-time position, and I'm assuming, and maybe I took you wrong, to see that or nothing. You know, the full-time or nothing, and she does not want part-time. Am I wrong in saying that? I don't know. So you've seen the email from what John Rice's company could do, and I'm not sure, because he can get the cooperation, the token that they're talking about. We use that a lot for our work to get into certain information. You have to have that to get into it. So does that come from the treasurer's office? He has to have that from the treasurer's office to do those DMV stops?
I think that the DMV, if we do a direct contract with DMV and Mr. Roth, then we get the token. But the information he gets has to be put into our system, our software system.
She would have to do that.
And the treasurer's office would have to do that. So she would still have to be, her office would still have to be involved before it would be successful.
Would that be the responsibility of the half-time person?
I would think so, yes, if you stipulated that.
So we'd still have to approve a half-time for that. It could be applied to Mr. Wright.
Somebody's gonna have to do it at the treasurer's office, whether it's staff she already has or a part-time position. In the past, when there was less staff, they've hired a seasonal person for tax collection purposes. When we had the decal, you know, there was a lot more people, you know, coming and going. But during tax season, that office is super busy. I mean, there's people in and out of here like crazy. So, you know, a part-time person could help with those situations and the DMV stops. That's my opinion. I don't work in that office, so I'm not an expert on what she needs and what she doesn't need.
Rita, for the record, I know you mentioned this the last time, just in dollars and cents. You know, this 91% has been a crawl in my stomach for a long time too. And I've asked, you know, the treasurer that question, you know, multiple times of what that would equate to in dollars and cents. And you give us a dollar figure. Could you repeat that again, what that would be in terms of?
Each percent is $125,000. So if you're collecting 92%, you're leaving several $100,000 on the board.
Okay. So probably 700,000.
If we,
thereabouts.
yeah, if we are, yeah, exactly. Because at 94%, I'm leaving, that's my estimate for the budget. We're not quite there, but that's leaving close to $600,000 on the table.
Yeah, so just for the record, I mean, it's, you know, and I'm sure the other board members feel the same way. I mean, we'd like to get, you know, the optimum dollars, you know, in terms of taxes. That would help us, you know, with our budget. And that's what this discussion is all about. And it would be nice if they would be here and be part of that conversation as well. But they have chosen, you know, not to do that. But anyway, thank you for that information.
On these LLCs that David brought up, if we were, as a board, were to address that, what would be the process for yours, or Ms. Kegley? Do you have any idea?
I know several years ago, a delinquent list was printed in the paper that caused quite a bit of ruckus. Because there was some errors, you know, and it's you know, if you're printed in the paper and you're not delinquent, it would be embarrassing. I totally agree with that. And like with anything, there could be some mistakes. I don't know if it would be possible to run this list. I mean, I've never heard of these people.
No.
Just looking over it, you know, this is the first I saw of it. But, you know, these don't ring a bell to me.
It's a good dodge, isn't it, for somebody?
And I can check with the commissioner and maybe see what she has on these people and try to get some more
What the
information.
location is,
That would be
where
great.
the,
Yeah.
I'd be glad to do that.
Folks, I know we beat this to death, with the treasurer's office, and Darrell and Mr. Tipton will agree that, I mean, it was a big deal getting that position approved. Like I said, it was a 4-3 vote. And it was understood. It wasn't implied. It was 100% understood that person would do DMV stops. And it was still almost 2 years before the DMV stops after the full-time employee was hired. And Dr. David Redwine said that he personally would recommend that position be pulled if they weren't done, and that threat was what I guess got them started. And then had to hire someone to come from Lee County to do the training, to do the DMV stops twice. So all this stuff, it just doesn't bode well. It does not. So on this part-time position, I do recommend we do the part-time. She can refuse it if she wants. It's 24 hours a week. And for her to say that she's not required to do DMV stops, and it was sort of like, you know, do this for that. We've heard that many times before, that if you don't do, as I say, I'm not going to do DMV stops. That's what she said she wouldn't do it. If we can get this other company, John Rice Company, to do it, but I'm not sure that he can without that cooperation from the treasurer's office. And the amount that is out there to be collected, and I really appreciate Ms. Creevy, what she said. This is not new money. This is money that's due, and you made a very good point on that. It's not a revenue source. It's revenue that should already be there, but we got to go other ways to collect it, and this person should be doing that. But anyway, I'm gonna recommend the 24-hour position for the treasurer's office. And also something that I mentioned it back before some of y'all were elected, to go back to the county windshield decal. I hated those things, but it was very effective. At the time, the sheriff said he would enforce it. And so we can get these taxes collected to the sheriff's office. If you don't have the county decal, you get a ticket. Then you pay it, you pay the ticket, plus you pay for, you pay your taxes and to get that. So you all think about this, and we could do it at the time of the treasurer's office would have to do that. As part-time person, we could do it. The sticker itself is probably $2 or $3 a piece. It's not free, a little bit more, a little bit expensive. Like I said, I hate to come stand in line. It used to be April 15th, you had to have it by then to, for your windshield sticker. So think about doing that, and I really think that it may be an alternative to even doing any kind of collection. Let the sheriff's office do it. If you don't have the county sticker, you get a ticket.
I mean, if it's cost effective, I mean, I believe you heard the term $46,000 that was thrown out before. I think I think that's what it costs maybe to do that.
I don't think it was that much, it was like, I don't know, I don't remember.
I might be wrong, I don't know.
There was 19,000 vehicles in the county, does that sound right?
I know we collect, around $460,000 from decal money, where they pay that fee, so it's a lot of vehicles.
Well, even that, I mean, if, to get this in place, like I said, that the then Sheriff Bucket said that they would enforce it.
I think it's important to have an effective, I don't know why that office doesn't want to, maximize, the use of an effective tool. That's at their disposal, and, why would you not want to do that? So, I know I hate the decals myself, but I mean, hey, if it's going to be effective, for our county, and we can use the sheriff to help us, I think it'd be a good idea.
I think so too, because it creates accountability,
Yeah, absolutely.
because that's the accountability piece that I feel like we're missing. So,
How quick could we do that?
Probably next year, heck, a lot,
Maybe
back
take
in
a
place,
year.
yeah, at least a year. But it's an effective tool, you got people in the county that can enforce it. It would take a TACS company out of Richmond to do it, the local law enforcement could do it. Might want to have this conversation with Sheriff Eads and see if they would be on board with it. Does the state police enforce those, or just the county officers?
It would be the county.
That's what I was thinking. Was a county ordinance to do it, and a lot of people be against it. I hate the county standing in line getting that county sticker. I hated it. But as they sitting here, it's a good tool to get to collect the money, because if you don't have it, you'll be in court. So that's the way to deal with individuals. And you're talking about your personal property tax you're going to collect plus the $23.
I could get your sticker when you pay your taxes in November for the following year.
that's a good idea.
Have to cut out, having to come twice. When you pay your taxes, you pay $23, plus you get your sticker then when you pay your taxes.
Well, I think this really came about because when the sticker went away, it seemed like then people would, if there was nothing on your windshield said all it is, this is an approving you paid your taxes. That's all the stickers say. I got mine, I paid mine, and here it is.
Maybe there's some options we can explore for a better way to obtain that sticker.
That's what Darrell said.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
But if we, would we want to hire somebody though for a year and then fire them or get rid of them, even if it is part-time? If we're gonna go in that direction, that's something, knowing,
Right.
Well, if you bring the sticker back, they're gonna need extra help.
Yeah, they'll need it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can
Definitely.
still,
Don't you remember the lines?
He's young, Marshall.
The sticker would be an effective identification for the waste sites too.
Talk about that.
That the attendant could see the sticker and know it's a county resident.
I think there is a lot of negative to it, but I think the positive outweighs the negative. We've talked about this before, Darrell, and you remember Marshall going through that, and so kind of, and I know people are probably going to say, well, I don't want to fool with it, but again, like what Darrell said, once that person has paid their taxes, then we can appropriate the money to mail them stickers. You got an address, a good address, that's where the money, that's where you're living. Once that tax burden, that tax is satisfied, then mail your sticker to you.
is that the only way the sheriff can be involved? Is with the stickers or something for that sort, or
I
can
think if
they?
you go back and look at the code, I don't have the code in front of me, but I think that's the avenue. One of the avenues that are laid out in the code.
One way I'm thinking about looking at this is we are going to put a burden on 91% of the population here that pays their taxes for those 9% that aren't.
That's real estate, which is personal property and stuff, but you're right, I mean, it's just, it always is, when you have a tax increase, you're increasing the taxes on those willing to pay.
Willing to pay, putting a burden on them. So I just wanted to make that clear, that that's not something that we're doing knowing, that we see that, we understand that.
And also, usually April 15th is when the deadline was, you had to have it, but then set that, move it to where it's the least busy time for the treasurer's office. So people come, if they want to come in person, they mail them out, make it, due at the less, time they have the least traffic, they've been without employees since February, I think, Rita.
March.
March, okay. Well, anyway, they've been down one full-time employee since March anyway. All right, but be thinking about it, and I do believe this is an effective tool that you don't have to worry about collections, or getting somebody to do it, or getting the token, or getting cooperation from the treasurer's office. We can put that in place and give her a part-time employee to do it. So 24 hours. And she mentioned about the person come work 6 hours a day. To me, you work 3 8-hour days. Would be you would come in for 4 6s. So it makes sense to me to do it that way. I don't know how the treasurer's office works. I'm trying to manage her, tell her what to do.
Can we stipulate on that 24 hours what their primary goal, what their primary responsibilities are to begin with?
We probably can't, but it's understood, implied, I guess, that that was the whole. If y'all can remember, you veteran people can. That was the whole discussion for this employee to do DMV stops. That position was created totally for that reason. And it was almost 2 years before it happened, even after they hired a full-time employee. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the stipulation would be if they do not, then they don't need the employee.
Right.
That would be, that the DMV stops has to come first. Now, if there's other things that they've got time on their hands, yeah, that's fine. If she wants to train them to do everything in that office, that's fine. But the DMV stops have to come first.
Yes.
And they, there is already an employee there that knows how to do it. So training, that employee could train her, the way I understand it, because she was in that position to begin with. She understands. And all of them, I guess, understand that or should. I mean, the way she explained it, because she wanted everybody to know each other's job, so to me, it shouldn't be an issue, but the stipulation would be if the primary job should be DMV stops, and if that's not what it's going to be, then they don't need the position.
Okay.
I think it's not fair to both the Board of Supervisors and to the Scott Countyans to be, held hostage, with this position as to whether or not they, do the DMV stops or not because of this. I mean, so I think that's important, in line with what Mr. Harrington was speaking about. So, all right.
I don't want to do an official vote, but I would like just a verbal acknowledgement. You'd be interested in doing the county decal again. Darrell, would you think you'd be for it?
Yeah.
Not an official vote.
It's fine with me as long as we do it when we do the taxes. And that way you don't have to drag into the office twice. You don't have to worry about April 15th being, because when you go, you pay taxes. You get your detail then. They don't have to mail them out. There's no postage there. You pay your personal property taxes. They hand you your decal. You're on your way. You're up there one time instead of having to go twice.
Or mail them out. We always mail ours and we mail them back to where they sent the tax bill to.
Yeah.
Good thought.
I concur with what Darrell just mentioned.
The same as Darrell.
I agree too.
I agree with what Darrell said, yes.
I'm not pro no tax. It's the only
What's
place
already there.
it's the only place I've ever lived that we had that. And I celebrated when it was gone away, and I couldn't vote for my county
Well, we already have it.
people
It's already
for
there.
us to have to do that when, I personally hated it when I had to
But the
get a
wheel tax,
sticker.
it's already there, just the sticker.
I know, the sticker part is the problem. It just,
It's an effective
one other
tool,
thing
that's
you
fine.
have to do, and you have to have your car inspected here and all these things. And I realized that like the inspections, the state inspections, that's good for people, I guess, who don't maintain their vehicles, but there again, the responsible people are penalized for the people who don't do what they need to do, so. I mean, I think we need to get our delinquent taxes paid, but I would like to see us go through, maybe a third party to get the taxes and we get our money.
All right. That's great.
I would concur with Daryl.
I just want just a general consensus, what you're all about, start somewhere down the road with. And I, it's in the near future that we look at doing something different than what we're doing. If we do what I said, keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results.
Why did we go away from that anyway?
Convenience.
That all was.
That's how I thought it was. I mean, we went away from it because of that.
And the stickers, you think would be like $4,000, or you said maybe less than that or something? I mean, it'll be a little expense for the stickers.
I think they were like $1.57 a piece. I don't know. Do you remember that? They're on Chad looked that up. And $1.57.
Something like $4,000, something like that.
Yeah.
I'd like for some way to let the public know that the only reason we're even talking about
Yes.
this is because of delinquent taxes.
Yes, that needs to be the primary.
We're gonna make it an agenda item and then people will know about it, ready for the July meeting and make an agenda item, then we can, people will know. It won't be a public hearing, but, the tax is already in place, $23 already in place. And all we're doing is showing a decal that you have paid your personal property and you paid your wheel tax. All right. Anything else? Been a good meeting, productive.
The stickers, do they just have to pay their personal property to get that sticker, or do they have to pay personal property and real estate to get the sticker?
Just personal property.
Just personal property. Okay.
I believe that's correct.
That's correct.
Okay. So that would be, some of the tax burden on that part of it we can collect. And even though, I mean, the way I see it, if there's any back tax for the last 5 years, it would have to catch up. Anything else? We will adjourn to June 22nd, correct? June 22nd.
At 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. I've got it on my phone, but I couldn't remember exactly. Anyway, we'll see everybody then. Hope everybody has a good day. Stay safe. This meeting is hereby adjourned.
June